Hello and welcome to Facts City. In today's episode we're going to be taking a look at 10 of the creepiest, scariest and just downright hellish mythological creatures known to man. To start things off we have the Pukwudgie. A Pukwudgie is a 2 to 3 foot tall being from the Wampanoag folklore. Pukwudgie's features resemble those of a human, but with enlarged noses, fingers and ears. Their skin is described as being a smooth grey, and at times has been known to glow. Native Americans believed that Pukwudgies were best left alone. When you see a Pukwudgie you are not supposed to mess with them, or they will repay you by playing nasty tricks on you, or by following you and causing trouble. They were once friendly to humans, but then turned against them. They are known to kidnap people, push them off cliffs, attack their victims with short knives and spears, and to use sand to blind their victims. Minhocão. The Minhocão is a large earthworm or serpent-like cryptid that allegedly exists in the forests of South and Central America. The Minhocão is said to resemble a 20 to 50 meter worm or serpent, with scaly black skin covering its entire body. It is reported to be ectothermic and have highly mobile jaws and is thought to be a burrowing animal, dwelling in enormous trenches or caves beneath the jungle floor. It is suggested the giant serpent may actually be a descendant of the Titanoboa, a Titanic-sized snake that once roamed the same region during the prehistoric era. The Minhocão reportedly resides in the wettest and warmest areas of South and Central America, and is a feared part of the culture in that region. The ancient Mayans depicted, through cave carvings and paintings, an extremely large serpent who was believed to eat humans. Some believe these drawings to be of the Minhocão. The possibility that the Minhocão still exists deep in the unexplored forests of South and Central America is debated, though there have been rumored sightings of the ancient serpent as recent as 2013. Vodnici. Vodnices have gills, web membrane between their fingers, and their skin is algae green in color as well as their hair, which is typically of pale green tone. Their overall dress and appearance is weird, sometimes even resembling a vagrant, patchy shirts and odd hats. They can withstand lingering for hours outside their ponds. When they do so, one can tell them unequivocally by their wet coattails from which water is dripping under all circumstances. The Vodnik's face is usually unshaven, and it is not uncommon for a Vodnik to have a large, wet, tangled beard. They try to drown people when they happen to swim in their territory. Vodnici would store the souls of the drowned in porcelain lid-covered cups. They consider their cups as the most valuable heritage and display their work, and number these cups they see as proportional to their wealth and or status among other Vodnici. When a Vodnik isn't busy killing swimmers, he will often spend his time leisurely smoking tobacco, loitering, and playing cards at the water's edge. Manananggal. The manananggal is described as scary, often hideous, usually depicted as female, and always capable of severing its upper torso and sprouting huge bat-like wings to fly into the night in search of its victims. The word manananggal comes from the Tagalog word tangle, which means to remove or to separate, which literally translates as remover or separator. In this case, one who separates itself. The name also originates from an expression used for a severed torso. The manananggal is said to favor preying on sleeping, pregnant women, using an elongated proboscis-like tongue to suck the hearts of fetuses, or the blood of someone who is sleeping. The severed lower torso is left standing, and is the more vulnerable of the two halves. Sprinkling salt, smearing crushed garlic or ash on top of the standing torso is fatal to the creature. The upper torso then would not be able to rejoin itself and would perish by sunrise. Jaikininki. Jaikininkas are the spirits of greedy, selfish or impious individuals who are cursed after death to seek out and eat human corpses. They do this at night, scavenging for newly dead bodies and food offerings left for the dead. They sometimes also loot the corpses they eat for valuables, which they use to bribe local officials to leave them in peace. Nevertheless, Jaikininki lament their condition and hate their repugnant cravings for dead human flesh. Often, Jaikininki are said to look like decomposing cadavers, perhaps with a few inhuman features such as sharp claws or glowing eyes. They are a horrifying sight, and any mortal who views one finds himself or herself frozen in fear. However, several stories give them the ability to magically disguise themselves as normal human beings. Wendigo. In Algonquian folklore, the Wendigo is a cannibal monster or evil spirit native to the northern forests of the Atlantic coast and Great Lakes region of both the United States and Canada. The Wendigo may appear as a monster with some characteristics of a human, or as a spirit who has possessed a human being and made them become monstrous. They are said to be at least 3 times larger than humans, with decaying skin and bones sticking out from their skin. It is historically associated with cannibalism, murder, insatiable greed, and the cultural taboos against such behaviors. The legend lends its name to the disputed modern medical term wendigo psychosis, which is considered by psychiatrists to be a form of culture-bound syndrome with symptoms such as an intense craving for human flesh and a fear of becoming a cannibal. In some indigenous communities, environmental destruction and insatiable greed are also seen as a manifestation of wendigo psychosis. Black Agnes. Black Agnes, also known as Black Agnes, is a bogeyman figure in English folklore. She is described as a blue-faced crone or witch with iron claws and a taste for humans, especially children. She is said to haunt the countryside of Leicestershire, living in a cave in the Dane Hills, with an oak tree at its entrance. She supposedly goes out onto the glens at night looking for unsuspecting children and lambs to eat, then tanning their skins by hanging them on a tree, before wearing them around her waist. She would reach inside houses to snatch people. Legend has it that she used her iron claws to dig into the side of a sandstone cliff, making herself a home there, which is known as Black Anis's Bower. The legend led to parents warning their children that Black Anis would catch them if they did not behave. Dullahan. The Dullahan is a headless rider, usually on a black horse, who carries his own head under one arm. The head and the mouth is usually in a hideous grin that touches both sides of the head. Its eyes are constantly moving about and can see across the countryside even in the darkest nights. The flesh of the head is said to have the color and consistency of moldy cheese. The Dullahan uses the spine of a human corpse for a whip, and its wagon is adorned with funeral objects such as candles in skulls to light the way. The spokes of the wheels are made from thigh bones, the wagon's covering made from a worm-chewed paw or dried human skin. When the Dullahan stops riding, that is where a person is due to die. The Dullahan calls out the person's name, at which point the person immediately perishes. There is no way to bar the road against a Dullahan, or locks and gates open to them when they approach. They do not appreciate being watched while on their errands, throwing a basin of blood on those who dare to do so, often a mark that they are among the next to die, or even lashing out the watcher's eyes with their whips. They are frightened of gold, and even a single gold pin can drive a Dullahan away. Spring-heeled Jack. Spring-heeled Jack was described by people who claimed to have seen him as having a terrifying and frightful appearance, with diabolical physiognomy, clawed hands, and eyes that resembled red balls of fire. One report claimed that, beneath the black cloak, he wore a helmet and a tight-fitting white garment like an oilskin. Many stories also mention a devil-like aspect. Others said he was tall and thin, with the appearance of a gentleman. He mainly would harass people by stalking and molesting them. Several reports mention that he could breathe out blue and white flames and that he wore sharp metallic claws at his fingertips. At least 2 people claimed that he was able to speak comprehensible English. And for our final creature we have the Pontianaks. Pontianaks are usually depicted as pale-skinned women with long black hair, red eyes, and white dress smeared in blood, but they are said to be able to take on a beautiful humanly appearance since they prey on men and helpless people. In folklore, a Pontianak usually announces her presence through high-pitched baby cries. If the cry is soft, it means that the Pontianak is far, and if it is loud, then she must be near. Some believe that if you hear a dog howling at night, that means the Pontianak is far, but if a dog is whining, that means the Pontianak is nearby. Her presence can sometimes be detected by a nice floral fragrance identifiable as that of the plumeria, followed by an awful stench, resembling that of a decaying body, afterwards. A Pontianak kills her victims by digging into their stomach with her sharp fingernails and devouring their body organs. In some cases where the Pontianak desires revenge against a male individual, she rips out the body organs with her hands. It is said that if you have your eyes open when a Pontianak is near, she will suck them out of your head. Pontianak locates her prey's victims by sniffing out the hanging laundry outside. That's gonna do it for today's episode. If you enjoyed our content, please leave a like, subscribe or comment. If you have any suggestions or ideas for our next video, please leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching and see you soon.